uh.
Waiting to publish, waiting to be live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. Hello again and welcome back to the Infinite Variety Show. I'm Cameron and I'm joined here today, as always, by Evan. This week across from me, where Ronnie usually is, but Ronnie's in the Big Apple, New York City.
Huh?
And he's watching right now. Saw him in the chat already.
Oh, good man.
And we're also not joined this week by Edward, a.k.a. Eddie, because he's at a heavy metal show. And so we're quickly becoming familiar with his priorities. That's okay. We will deal with that later.
Later in a back alley somewhere.
Evan, how was your week? Dang it.
To tell you the truth, it has been very busy, actually. Quite
Mine
productive as well.
Productive?
Yes.
What have you been doing in your spare time? Because I know your lovely lady is away in Southern California for work.
She is.
So what have you been using your spare time for? Like all this newfound spare time?
Well, newfound spare time, trying to fill it so I'm not just sitting there thinking about my lady that is gone.
What have you been doing?
Well, in my spare time, honestly, I can't think that there's been a whole lot, actually. I've just been trying to hang out with people, I guess. Just hanging out with friends, going and getting food. Just trying to relax, watching some Netflix, The Office. So that's my jam.
Watching Netflix in the office.
Yep.
Well, my week's been kind of busy too with work stuff.
Yeah.
But glad to be here. Did a little overtime already this week, so I left work early to get this podcast set back up.
There you go.
But I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Do you ever sit around and think about what it would be like to win the lottery?
Okay. I have had this thought. Just about every time I go to the gas station, I see people buying those cards and stuff, little scratchets. I think, man, what if that was me? What if I did that and then won? Because I actually don't buy those, but that would be something else.
Well, I see people buying scratch-offs all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's rampant.
I kind of, on one hand, I feel a little bit sorry that they're probably scratching off their, excuse me, they're probably scratching off their, 1,000th scratch-off ticket at a price of, $3 a piece.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then, but I also think, man, it would be cool to win the lottery, but you can't win unless you play.
Right.
So, if I were to play, I would be putting myself in the same situation as I'm having pity on these poor boys for. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's a lose-lose if you're not winning.
But my question that I fooled you. That wasn't really my question. My question is,
okay,
what do you think is the dumbest thing that you would do if you won the lottery?
Oh,
we're not talking about a $1 million lottery prize where you have to kind of be responsible.
Right.
We're talking about an amount of money that would literally change your life. Never work a day, even if you were done with it. Let's just say 500 million.
Oh, 500 million?
Yeah. What's the absolute dumbest thing you would do?
Oh my gosh, dumbest thing. Oh man. Okay, so I've had a fantasy of buying a yacht.
Okay.
So
that's your fantasy, huh?
Oh, it's a total cliche.
Okay.
If any rich man wanting to retire and just chill on his yacht for hours and hours, I think it would have to be a yacht.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it would be a lot of fun, though. And at 500 million, it wouldn't just be a yacht. There'd be boats attached to the yacht with people going out, with smaller boats attached to ski-doos that would be going out. And I'd be on probably every single one all day long.
That sounds pretty fun. You just let the other chill in your bank, right?
Oh, well, no, it wouldn't just be chilling. Absolutely not.
You'd make some businesses.
Well, yeah, I'd probably start a yacht business.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'd be flipping yachts just all day long. I'd get a yacht, just soup it up, make it crazy incredible.
And flip it.
Shoots. No, well, yeah, but I'd start some videos, right? Some streams going on. People would just be like, wow, that yacht is so sick. Look at what they're doing. There's a helicopter and it's flying overhead. Somebody just bungee jumped out of it. It's Will Smith.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, I wonder what it costs to hire Will Smith to bungee jump out of a helicopter buy your yacht for a YouTube video.
Oh, well, we would just promise
Not
him
cheap. Wouldn't be cheap.
It would not be cheap. But at $500 million, it probably would be cheap. I wouldn't even, like, you wouldn't even consider money anymore. It wouldn't even be a thing.
No, I know, yeah. Okay, $20 million is yours. Here you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I probably would buy a Hollywood productions studio size warehouse full of camera equipment and sound equipment.
Nerd.
I think because you know what, I've put probably more thought into this scenario than I'm willing to admit.
Okay.
But
just admit it.
Yeah,
Get real.
If I had some kind of life-changing sum of money dumped on me, I would for sure open up a big production studio. You know.
Yeah.
I know some people in that industry, and I'd be like, hey, come use all these tools to make movies, and I'll be the executive producer because I won the lottery.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
But also that might be sort of on the border of responsible. But if it didn't make any money, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't have a reason to care, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You do whatever you wanted.
Yeah. So, you know, this is only our second episode of the show, so I'm still working out the segments, but I have some things on my computer I want to show you, right? Because I came across this today randomly.
Surprise.
I came across something in this category randomly today.
Yeah.
And it cracked me up so much, I wanted to show you because I know you're going to love it too.
Okay.
Have you ever seen on the internet or anywhere else?
Is this a spoiler alert?
No.
Okay, I'm still going to be surprised.
People with hilarious names. Very, very unfortunate names that they're given at birth.
Yeah.
Have you seen things like that?
Oh man, I've heard things like that.
I have a couple I want to get your opinion on.
Okay.
So let me open up this here. And the first one I want to show you is Miss Brownie Shytles.
Oh my! What the? Oh wow! No, this is real though. She looks real. Man. She looks real.
It's real.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the news story is about, but it's bugged by potty. This is a news banner, and it shows the lady's name.
Oh my
and
God.
It's an old lady, white hair, very kind face, and her name is Brownie Shytles. Shytles.
They just had to. Oh my God.
Imagine being that woman's grandkid in 2018. Oh, you couldn't. You would have to be homeschooled.
Oh,
you would have to be homeschooled.
Well, are you? I mean, unless you're proud of it.
Maybe you might be the most popular.
You're one of the Shytles, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man, that'd be something.
But you know, her sweet parents, they weren't thinking about Shyttle being a memeable name.
Oh no.
And so they just loved the name Brownie.
Oh yeah, they're just like, oh,
they love the name Brownie.
She's gonna be sweet as a brownie.
Oh,
she's gonna come out like Shytles.
Man, but yeah, and you know, she didn't have any trouble in school. You know, oh, hey, Brownie. Because, you know, people were way kinder back then. I don't even know if people's minds work like that. But guarantee you, her kids had some bullying at school. Well, or maybe they were cool, like I said. I don't know.
I think that it would prevent you from doing... I mean, just imagine if you wanted to be in the military and you wanted to have one of your superior officers... Shytles! Private Shytles!
Drop and give me 20 Shytles!
Shit on this Shyttle today.
Pretty unfortunate name.
Oh my!
I have a couple here for you. Let's go over our next person.
Man, it'd be hard to top that one.
We have a suspect in a crime whose name is Mr. Patrick Molesty.
This is horrible, and he's on the news. Yeah, he's on the. Look at that face. You can't.
At a certain point, you have to change your name.
Oh, from Atlanta.
At a certain point, you have to change your name.
Yeah, and look how old he is. He hasn't yet.
Imagine his drill sergeant.
He's like, when it gets real, I'll change it, and then he's on the news. Well, Shytles just got real, dude.
Imagine his drill sergeant in the military. Drop and give me 20 Molesty. Everybody's like, what? Is this somebody that came in the service with a record? I mean, what's this guy's... Why is he calling him Molesty? No, that's his name.
No.
That's his name.
Oh,
so those are two pretty hot memes. Let's go to our next one, man. I believe... Oh, no. Okay, so this guy took a college ID photo and then somehow gamed the system so where he was able to go in and edit his name. And so his name on his college ID is... is Jafar from Aladdin.
Wow.
His name on his college ID is Jafar from Aladdin. Jafar from Aladdin.
From Aladdin. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Wow.
How about that?
That can't be real.
No, I don't know if he's watching right now, but my dad in college.
Oh, man, that can't be real.
My dad in college, he took pictures under, like, I think 3 or 4 different names in the yearbook. He would go out and change clothes and put on a pair of glasses and come back in and be like, yeah, I'm Danny Smith. And they'd take his picture. He was in the yearbook. It was like 4 different people, I think.
Oh, my God.
I think in college. That's pretty funny.
Wow.
And we have one more.
Jafar from Aladdin. That is just... Way to be just...
And then we have one more, and this one is also hilarious, and something that I think in these days you wouldn't be able to be a teacher if you had this name, because this guy's a teacher of, I think, 5th grade, and his name is Mr. Perv.
Dude, oh my God. Oh my God.
P-E-R-V, Perv.
Who was the staff that hired this guy?
Know, but
like, you can't even seriously think that that's okay.
For audio-only listeners,
For the
we're looking
grade?
at a picture of a teacher and his 5th grade class, and the header of the picture says, Mr. Perv's 5th grade.
Mr. Perv. Mr. Perv's 5th grade.
Oh my God.
Oh man, dude, it's like borderline
Aren't we
unbelievable.
lucky we have normal names?
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, your last name though. Who would marry into that?
Pretty crucial.
Mrs. Perv and Mr. Perv.
But again, when this guy was a kid, I'm assuming, because based on the pictures of these kids, this is probably in the early 2000s, maybe the 90s. So when this guy was born, let's say maybe the late 60s, early 70s, it probably wasn't a colloquialism that perv meant what it did. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But that is very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a weird thought.
But which one do you think takes the cake out of those that I showed you?
Oh God, Jafar from Aladdin. Dude, that just I can't even handle it. That's just insane.
I thought you were gonna die on that beer there, man.
Oh, dude, no, yeah,
that's hilarious.
It was coming back up, that's for sure. That was a close
man.
call. But I can hold my liquor, so I'm good.
All right, now Evan, I spent some time over the last couple days looking for some news stories that were a little out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Right? I want to run a few by you and see what you think. Have a little chat about them, okay? The first one is a little bit of a local meme, because this is from good old Portland, Oregon, right? A lady who is a successful author, right? So, can't take that away from her. She's a successful author here in Portland, Oregon, who also at one point penned an essay entitled How to Murder Your Husband, was arrested for murdering her husband. Yes.
So
that's correct.
That didn't hold up in court.
It didn't. That's a hard one to defend in court.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is real. Last week, police in Portland arrested 68-year-old Nancy Crampton Brophy. She is charged with murder in the death of her 63-year-old husband, Chef Daniel Brophy.
Oh my
Allegedly.
gosh. Allegedly.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Except
at 8:30 a.m. on June 2nd, police and medics arrived at the Oregon Culinary Institute, and I drove past there.
You're kidding.
When this was happening.
Hey, they didn't even need a confession from her. They had it in writing.
Yeah. So let's see. Got a vape real quick?
Don't choke. Don't choke on it.
Oh boy. Let's see. At 8:30 a.m. on June 2nd, police and medics arrived at the Oregon Culinary Institute after students and instructors arriving for class found Chef Brophy suffering from a gunshot wound. The first responders attempted to revive him but were not successful. In a press release that day, police said that they were investigating the death as a homicide and that they had no immediate suspects. Now, this lady, Miss Crampton Brophy, is a self-published author of romantic suspense novels, with many featuring chiseled ex-Navy SEALs, books with rugged men, strong women, and a good story, she touted on her website.
Oh, it's juicy.
Boy.
Oh, she's in it.
As a romantic suspense writer, I spend a lot of time thinking about murder and consequently about police procedure, the Post read. After all, if the murder is supposed to set me free, I certainly don't want to spend any time in jail. And let me say clearly for the record, I do not like jumpsuits and orange isn't my color. And then she shoots her husband. After writing an essay titled How to Kill Your... What was it? How to murder your husband.
How to murder?
She wrote an essay about how to murder your husband and not get caught by the police. And she murdered her husband and got caught by the police. So yeah, that's a bit of a Portland meme.
Oh, that's ironic. Wow.
But all right, let me show you this next article.
Wow, it's really ironic, actually.
This might be hit or miss, but it made me laugh just thinking about how this really played out.
Well,
an entire village in an area of India came together to stop a couple from conceiving their 18th child. Okay?
Okay.
So this couple, they wanted 2 sons. They had 17 kids and only had 1 son. And they're going to try to have an 18th child in hopes it'd be a son. And who knows how many more after that.
Wow, that is drive.
And their whole town came together and were like, what the hell are you doing? Stop! When your family comes into a restaurant, nobody else can get in there. You take up the whole bus. Stop. Could you imagine?
Oh my God.
Now, what made me laugh about this story is imagining this taking place in like a Western society.
Okay.
And like we have all these little nuclear homes lined up down the road, and that you were just minding your own business, you and your 17 kids in your house, and your neighbors rallied and came to your house and was like, don't have an 18th kid, asshole.
As they're having it?
No. Before they conceived it, they were trying to stop them.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
So basically,
how hilarious is that? That the village felt like they needed to rally together to prevent them from having any more kids.
Oh, it was just the talk of the town. I bet they were like, I mean, but where did it start though? Because I mean, they probably started number 10, number 11, number 12.
People started looking at him a little funny. They were like, "Oh, guys,
well, he's got 1 son though." Like, I mean, I guess we could, they're gonna try for number 12 and 13.
Would you
14,
beer me, sir,
15.
please?
I mean, that's just like. I can only imagine how people are and how they get everybody gets in everybody's business continuously. But this is something you really couldn't just put off. I mean, if you had a next door neighbor and every time you go outside, you've got a circus going on in the yard next to you.
Right.
You're just like, seriously?
Yeah, if the kids go outside and play, the cops get called.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Jeez, man. 18 kids.
I mean, could you imagine the holidays, though? Wow.
Dude. Rocking.
Yeah, it would be sweet.
All right. I have one more article for you. This made me laugh a lot too. Okay. But you haven't been receiving these articles very well. I thought you'd laugh more at them. I have to rethink this segment.
Well, I mean, they're just real though. I mean, it's kind of just more of a shock than anything.
Now, this one's a little. I like this one a lot.
Okay.
What I want you to think about going into this story is how funny would this job be?
Okay.
Octopuses get very friendly when they're on MDMA, study reveals. The normally antisocial creatures, octopuses become very social indeed when exposed to the party drug, also known as ecstasy.
No shit.
Scientists have found out what happens when you give an octopus MDMA. Almost the exact same thing as when you give it to a human.
Oh, no way.
Octopuses are mostly solitary creatures who rarely spend time with each other, preferring to keep their own company other than during mating. But as in humans, when octopuses receive a dose of MDMA, also known as the party drug ecstasy, they become very social indeed.
Oh, yeah, just... Dun.
Neuroscientists from the Johns Hopkins University in the U.S. conducted the study and published it in the Journal of Current Biology.
What are they doing?
Say that it reveals something profound about how our brains work. And I'm going to stop there and just ask you, okay, number one, animal testing kind of messed up.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of messed up.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But if scientists can experiment on animals, and especially if they're not if they're not getting hurt, if they're having a good time, you know, then maybe it's ethically justified. I'm not sure where I stand.
Okay.
But you tell me that the scientist who woke up in the morning knowing he was going to give an octopus MDMA wasn't jazzed to go to work that day.
Oh, man. Well,
I would be so stoked to wake up if I was that scientist. This is going to be hilarious.
If this man was going to do that, and he was going to do it right, you're talking about being hyped? Yeah. This man probably took MDMA.
No.
First thing in the morning.
No.
And was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have a party with octopuses today.
Johns Hopkins University
John Hopkins University. They're giving MDMA to octopuses. Like, whose idea was that in the first place?
Probably the government's, to be honest.
The government's. But as if there wasn't enough people doing MDMA. I mean, come on. Like, people take DMT under controlled circumstances in a doctor's office. As if we didn't have enough humans to study why an octopus. What is that? Like, you do it on an octopus brain. What's that going to tell you about a human's brain? Like, they enjoyed it. Oh, really? Because I guarantee you, if you just released like 1 billion particles of serotonin into somebody's brain, no matter who it is, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to have a real good time.
Well, you think that they just had some lab-grade MDMA hanging around, and, you know, the two, like, jive turkeys of the lab were like, hey, we have this MDMA and we also have an octopus. What do you say? What do you say we give it to him? And the other guy was like, if we do, we can make it into a study and report what we find. And they give it to him, and now the report says it makes them more social.
Yeah.
No shit, Sherlock.
It's like Breaking Bad. They probably had some guy that made the most pure form he's ever made his entire life, and he's like, this is going to be groundbreaking. Not only are the octopuses going to get to experience this, but so are we. I mean, honestly, that's pretty wild, though. That's pretty wild. I mean,
that's a crazy job.
You'd wonder how. I mean, because obviously, I picture people in board meetings and stuff having very serious conversations.
Right, yeah.
Oh, and how would you say that with a straight face? I mean, the guy comes in with the idea, and he's kind of nervous about it, but he's like, you know, I don't know. I know these guys. Maybe they're going to buy into it. And he just comes in there, and he's like, so today I'm going to talk about MDMA. And they're like, we're talking about octopuses. He goes, no, but MDMA in an octopus. And they're like, oh, that's it right there. Let's find out.
It's like these stoner scientists that are just like playing these tricks on people. Gosh, so I have a case of the burps tonight.
You always do.
I can't hold it in. I just changed the cartridge to menthol. Let me get my vape in.
All right, get your menthol in. I know how it is.
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of jobs out there.
I like that.
That from a layman, you know, we could like goof on it and it's funny and stuff, but
sure.
It's important to them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But it's like doctors that see some of these weird stuff, some of the weird stuff that comes in. They're all professional about it, and they write their documentation all professional, but at the end of the day, you had to like take a toy car to somebody's butt or something like that, you know? And you can't walk in the room and be like, what an idiot. Look at that. Right. Why'd you do that?
Oh, look what we have here.
Okay, Mr. Johnson. Well, what we're going to have to do is apply some local anesthetic and get the forceps out and, you know, man, that would be tough.
Oh, man.
Have you ever been in a situation where you had to keep a straight face, but it was the hardest thing you ever had to do?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember any of those moments?
Well, I know I've had them. It'd be hard to, like, recall one on the spot, but, I don't know. You say yours first. I'll think about it. But if you've got one on deck,
I'll share one. I'll share one we shared.
Okay.
How hilarious is fishing with my friend Sean?
Oh my God, dude. That was something.
Oh
I mean,
my
you
God.
you even like you hyped it. Like you were like, I guarantee you something bad's gonna happen to this guy when we go fishing.
I did.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely did. And I kind of put it in the back of my mind because I figured, he seemed like a nice guy. I was like, well,
He is. Yeah, he's great.
it's in the past.
But he's just tremendously accident prone.
Oh dude. Like, yeah, but real though, when I only heard the noise on my right of just this like commotion of swear words and splashing and like I looked over and I thought, oh my God, what is happening to this man? He's screaming in pain.
Yeah.
I look over, I just like look at you and you just like look back at me, you're like just like
straight face,
deadpan, and I was like, okay, we're gonna hold it. We're gonna hold it.
You have to realize that I'm put in that position every single damn time we go fishing.
Oh yeah, and you can't say
something
anything.
happens to him.
Yeah,
and things happen to me too. I've broken fishing rods, Bill Dance style.
Sure,
I've fallen down hills. I twisted my ankles. I've fallen in the river and got water in my waders. It's happened to me too.
Yeah,
but if you go fishing with Sean, it's going to happen to him.
Oh, every time,
I
believe it. I believe it.
I have to start bringing my GoPro.
Oh yeah, no, you really do.
I could secretly record him and make a whole successful YouTube channel about nothing but his fishing fails.
It'd be like Bill Dance's like son or whatever.
And you should have seen it when he was first learning how to fish, because it was the added complexity of having gear trouble as well as physically hurting himself.
Yeah.
Man, it's just so funny.
Oh man, the learning curve. I can't imagine, because he seemed like he had a good handle on it for the most part. He just was like, he was deep in the brush. I mean, that's why I kept saying, I was like, you can get it, Sean. You can get it. Every time. Sean versus Wild.
So, we have 2 questions from Aaron Stevens in the chat here. Question number 1.
Hey, Aaron, good to see you.
What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear?
Yeah, just answer that on the spot.
Super
Great
heavy.
thinking, Aaron.
Super heavy. Greatest fear. Oh man. Wow.
Do you let me make it easier for you maybe.
Okay.
Do you fear a certain type of death more than the others?
Oh yeah.
What type?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I fear, well, there's a couple. One would be burning alive.
That's my biggest fear right there, burning alive. Or having something fall on my arm like that movie James Franco was in.
Oh.
And having to just sit there and die.
Oh, no, but he didn't though. That's the crazy part.
I know, but I don't know if I have it in me to cut off my damn arm.
Right. I'd go hungry and hopefully just pass into a deep sleep. At some point, I'd just be like, my arm's numb. Just let the rest of me go. Like, okay, I'm ready to go. My arm's been stuck.
Would you speed up the process
of death?
Would you like slit your wrist and take a long nap?
Oh man, dude. To be honest, you'd have to be there to know what it's like.
I know. We can't answer these types of questions.
I feel like it's just judging by what he did though. It's like survival mode.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to die. You're struggling with the fact you'd have to deal with that for as long as it took, and then finally, you'd have to either come to terms with it or you just let go.
But what if you could just make a small little slit in your jugular,
dude,
and just take a nap?
Just take a nap. Like you come to terms with it that way. You're
take
like,
a short nap.
I'm gonna take a nap for a while.
I'll come back to the situation. Never.
Yeah, never. Yeah.
I don't know.
Put a pin in it.
I mean, burning is definitely a bad way to go. I fear burning alive for sure. But being smashed into rubble, like I was thinking about it the other day. There was an earthquake off the coast of Oregon, and I was thinking about I'm in a basement apartment, so this isn't where I want to be. Probably when an earthquake happens.
Oh yeah, never. Absolutely
probably don't
not.
want to be in the basement of an apartment complex.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people are scared of drowning. I think drowning would be one of the best ways to go.
Well, they say that right before you pass away, you experience euphoria and peace.
When you drown?
When you drown.
Weird.
There's a period of time where you suck in water and then...
How does anybody know that? I think that's just something to calm the nightmares.
Well, no, this is how I think of it, because you've got Navy SEAL training where they put you in water to the point where you drown. There's people who have drowned and come back So it's not, I mean, you just empty the water out of their lungs, you know, you do CPR. So there are people that have an experience of passing out or whatever it is. So I think that there is examples of that.
I think that when you're dying like that, your brain releases DMT. That's what creates the light at the end of the tunnel sensation.
Yeah. Just a lot, and your life flashes before your eyes. I'm sure you remember a lot in that 1 second or a couple seconds, yeah. I was going to say, though, greatest fear, to answer Aaron's question, I think that it would have to be losing my mind.
Oh, man.
I mean, if you could imagine dementia or Alzheimer's.
That hits close to home, man, because my grandma had dementia and then subsequently Alzheimer's. And
Sure.
It was scary to see.
Losing yourself before you go. That would be my biggest fear. Losing myself before I go. Not having the experience of fighting for your life. You're literally losing it over time. I think that would probably be the biggest fear.
A fear that I've had that I try actively to mitigate is the fear of realizing you're at the end of your life and looking back on it and wish you had lived a fuller life.
Sure.
You know?
I could totally see that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's
There's
really real.
nothing you can do about it. It's gone.
Right.
And to be at the end of your life, whether that's like an untimely young death or you've lived the full life and you're 80 years old and you sit back and like, man, I wish I didn't work until I was 70.
Well,
you know,
to be honest with you, it could be a matter of perspective too. It's how you look at your life, because you can always look at your life through what you wish you would have done, and then also look at your life in a realistic way of what you have done and the impact it's had.
No. But what if you had a life that had no impact?
Right.
Like what if you had dreams, but you had things in your life that prevented you from fulfilling those dreams?
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Like what if? And this is especially not that there. I want to try to say this delicately. Not that people of an older generation didn't have interesting or wild ideas and aspirations, but a lot of people my grandparents' age, and I would say even our parents' age, lock into a corporate job when they're in their 20s and then work at the same job until retirement age.
Right.
You know?
That's a good point, yeah.
And in America, you get shit for vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You're lucky if you have health insurance. You're lucky if you have a retirement plan with your company.
Yeah.
And there's so much of your time is spent locked up in the corporate gridlock.
Yeah.
You know, where you only get a certain sliver of your days to spend with your family and friends. You get the weekends if you're lucky for your entire life, and then 2 weeks a year to not go into work.
Right.
You know.
Well, I had a friend of mine, Paul, who you know, Paul.
Zapata.
He's Paul Zapata, yeah.
Yep.
He's everywhere at once. It's crazy. That guy's he's a cool dude.
He's David Blaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He talked to me about living in Switzerland, actually.
Yeah.
Or was it Sweden? I think it was Sweden, actually.
It's the same country.
Sweden and Switzerland?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, but anyways, so he lived there, and he said that there's a culture there that celebrates fika. Fika is the mentality to spend your life with people and in community rather than your job. So he says most people there live on like a minimum wage. They don't have big extravagant lives and technology, and they don't have the consumerism mentality, right, where we have to have more to be happy. So they work these part-time jobs, and they also, he said, all the time with people, they weren't concerned about work. They were concerned about what they were doing. So they would go on bike rides and have picnics and go on hikes, and like they'd spend time together, not needing more but each other. You get what I'm saying? So it's like more of a relationship avenue. Like we have media today that has such a control on us, and it teaches us to like be as big as you can, the best that you can at all times. But they choose to live like a more secluded life, like basically appreciate what you have and be content.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I find myself in constant juxtaposition to the American dream. You know, I'm coming up on 30. A lot of my friends and family have taken a much different path in life than I have by the time I've reached this age. But culturally, certain things are more, I guess, standard where I'm from. Because up here, I hardly know anybody who owns a home. And that's one of the things I'm talking about mainly is like owning a home. Is it an objective for me one day, yeah, I think that would be a really cool thing to have, because I would have, you know, the space and the investment and everything. There's tons of benefits to owning a house, and I could, you know, I'm probably close to being able to afford one right now. I could change some things about my lifestyle,
sure,
and be able to afford a house easily.
Sure.
But I haven't thought one time about talking to a realtor. I don't want it in my life right now.
Right.
You know, it would be more of a burden than a benefit to me.
Stress, yeah, exactly.
But everybody, not everybody, a lot of the people my age that I grew up with already own homes. You know, and it's weird. Sometimes you can catch yourself comparing yourself to people on social media or whatever. But the whole thing about like owning a house and the American dream, what's strange to think about is it is the American dream. It's not the way that a lot of people around the world live their lives.
That's a good way to like rephrase that statement, because it really puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
It like singles it out. Like it's the we think the American dream is oftentimes the whole world's dream, you know, but it really is something that we deal with here and now, like where we're living and what we're experiencing day to day. It's the American dream. Yeah, that's a really good point, honestly.
Yeah. I'm going to try to weave this in as flawlessly as I can in the moment, but
I had something to add real fast before you segue. I was going to say one thing in my life, like as I dream and think ahead like all the time, right? Just like anybody else would. And you have things that you want to accomplish, right? A lot of it can be driven by fear, the fear of missing out. So you want to like do things that you can look back on and, you know, really remember. But for me, one thing that I have had happen to me is that things have come along that I did not expect, that are dreams. You know, like I think about the woman that I'm with, Lori, and I think about the life that I'm living now and the place that I'm living, the job that I have, and that kind of security. That's something I didn't picture myself having this early, and it kind of came out of nowhere. But it was like a dream that was being fulfilled to me that I didn't have before. It's like very surprising and exciting. But I think that is one of the amazing things about living in America. You can have the American dream, but you can also have things happen to you that you never would have expected. Not necessarily negative things, you know, like trials and errors and mistakes, but like things that came out of nowhere that you're like, wow, I didn't think I could actually have that. Right. Or I didn't picture it this good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. But anyways, that's all I did have.
I'm going to try to weave this in, even though it's in the moment, and I wrote this down in my journal at work, because we have a consultant that works with us 1 day a week, and he's like a really high level former executive at several big companies, and he comes in and he trains us, you know, based on what we need training in or whatever. So today, my meeting with him was about time management.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
And he told me, and just as you listen to this, try to imagine this overlaid over personal life.
Okay.
He said you have to know how to tackle important items over urgent items so that you're maximizing your usefulness in the time that's given to you. You know, I think that's a beautiful concept to try to overlay on life as well. Like, make sure that you're pursuing and taking part in as many important things as you can to be as useful to yourself, your future self, and those around you as you possibly can. So I don't know how well that overlaid in the moment to our conversation, but I tried my best.
No, I think that's incredible. That's really, really, really good advice, actually.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I will say this, because the reason I say that is because I've experienced that at my current job. They have, all kinds of deadlines that we have to get to each day. So when I'm on a job site and I've got to figure out a way to get it all done in a timely manner, it teaches you to organize your time.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're not making too many trips back to your truck, to make sure that you're not spending too much time on one thing that could be handled later. You could just, you know what I'm saying? So like that in itself has taught me, I carry that into my personal life because it's so impactful at work that it comes home with me. And I think, okay, well, if I do this here, here, and here, right? I mean, you can even go into like ADD, being distracted by so many different tasks all at once that you become a cluster of confusion, right? Well, you can use that to your advantage, because if you're in the moment and you're accomplishing a task and you realize, well, this is close by, I can just take care of this too. Take a few seconds to do it. Well, then you've already eliminated a separate trip to go do that one thing because you're handling it all in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but then again, there is a difference between important and urgent.
Sure. Well,
so
yeah,
he
I guess you'd have
encouraged
to
me
figure that
to
out.
put the filter on, like, it's really tempting to tackle urgent things when they come in, but is tackling that more important than your important task that you have in front of you?
Okay, there's the twist, though. There's the twist. I can see that playing out specifically for your job, definitely.
Yeah. So I would like to segue into the last portion of our show with this question. How do you think this period of time will be remembered 50 years from now?
Gosh.
Not good.
Not good.
Weird.
Man. Yeah, I mean, where we live, yeah, it could be pretty weird. I don't know. I think probably transition. We're transitioning. I mean, there's key moments in history where we have transitioned and had monumental, new inventions and technology coming into play and changing the way that we live. But I think we live in an age where it's so prominent with just your average Joe could change the world. You know what I mean? Like with a post or with... God, I mean, just all the inventions that we're talking about going to Mars now.
Yeah.
We're talking about having self-driven cars. We're talking about AI, virtual reality.
How do you think it'll be remembered?
I think that it will be remembered as the starting point of a new age.
Let me ask you two questions in periphery then. What do you think people 50 years from now will remember about this period of time that was a positive impact in our course as a country in Western society? And then also, what do you think will be something we look back upon and realize as a uniform mistake?
Okay, to start with the positives, probably acceptance. Society accepting people as they are, regardless of...
I agree with that, yeah.
Anything. You put a tag on it, you know what I mean? All these issues are brought up, and they're so heavy on people because we have this big search for identity.
Yeah.
So I think looking back positively, we're going to see like so many open doors that opened up new avenues to experiencing people you never would have experienced before. We're going to have a lot more community. We're going to have a lot more diversity in our community. We're going to have a lot more, just in general, to be really simple, like acceptance of another person.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah. And which, I mean, there's an endless topic on that. Like, it could just open up the doors for so many things.
Yeah, but what do you think that we will look back on and think was a mistake?
Probably media. I think...
media as a whole?
Media almost as a whole.
Like social media?
I've had this conversation with lots of people, and we're talking Facebook and Instagram.
So social media.
Social media.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Social media. So I think we'd look back at that probably more often than not as a negative, because I can see where things are turning. People get consumed by it. It's almost like a drug.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and it actually does the opposite of what I said was the positive. It takes people away from each other. It causes separation, division. People feel free to say whatever they want, whenever they want, because they're behind a computer screen. But if you were to say that in front of someone else and know their story, like know who they really were, you wouldn't say those things. Social media adds this like barrier between people, first of all, because you're separated by time and space, but also because you feel free to be as evil or as messed up and demented as you want without having any consequences. So I think that people would look back on that and be like, wow, like, I wish I didn't say those things. I wish I wasn't like that. I'm a completely different person now. If I could go back, never would have said that, never would have done that, never would have posted that.
Oh, it bites people in 2018.
Oh,
things they posted back in 2000 on Twitter, you know?
Look at,
10,000 tweets ago.
Look at the names. Mr. Perv.
Yeah. I think for me, what I would say would be something that we'll look back upon kindly, but is also a double-edged sword, is our access to information. You know, there are very little gatekeepers these days from allowing us to learn about anything. So if you want to learn about quantum physics, you can do that from your own home, basically for free. If you've already spent the money on the technologies everybody else has, and have an internet connection, whereas like in the 1960s or 50s or wherever, you had to, at the very least, go down to the library and hope they had a book on it, Or if you wanted to learn more than your local library had or a book you could buy had, you would have to get a college degree to know the things about quantum physics that we can watch from this desk on this computer screen. So I think that's going to be something that we look back upon and celebrate from the last 3 decades, and something that, and I'm going to drop this, and then we're going to move on because it's going to be a broader conversation for another podcast, I think.
Sure.
I think in 50 years we'll look back and wish that we had placed more restrictions on artificial intelligence. Like I'm not some kind of artificial intelligence doomsday kind of guy that thinks it's going to completely decimate society, but I think that it's going to have a pretty rough effect.
Sure.
I do. And also that's a double-edged sword, because I think artificial intelligence is going to do a lot of things that we would rather not do. We were having a conversation off air before the podcast started about the lady who's suing Facebook because being a content moderator gave her PTSD because she was having to view the most horrendous things that humans can possibly dream up that they would post on Facebook.
Right.
I mean, videos of things that I won't even say on this platform right now. They're just heinous, horrendous stuff,
Sure. Wow.
But also, so artificial intelligence could be engineered to take care of that job, which would be great.
Right.
But it's also going to be, or it also has a potential to be a replacement for a lot of jobs. And that brings up bigger conversations about like universal basic income. If all these corporations are making a crap load of money from machines and not paying out health care, retirement plans, and wages for people, does the government tax those businesses, the correlation, and then give that to the community that are now out of jobs? Who knows? But I do think that we will look back 50 years from now or however long and think that we should have reined that in a little bit more, maybe guided its hand a little bit more.
Think if you had like an AI robot, right?
Yeah.
That you could buy on your own. You could make an investment, okay? And this AI robot could do your job. So you live your personal life, but you were so fortunate to be able to buy your own AI to do your work for you that all your time was freed up.
I think my job as a project manager is probably safe.
As a project manager?
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Who knows what's coming?
Yeah, I'll take your job.
If you would have asked somebody in 1850, if you would have described to them that machines, absent of any human interaction, can build a car, that's something that somebody back then could not comprehend. Or if not 1850, 1750.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So that's another thing we're going to have to talk about on the podcast in a future episode too. What the hell is in store for us in 50 to 100 years?
Oh, yeah.
That we might not even be able to conceptualize right now in this current state.
Yeah.
Who knows? So
that's a good question.
That question leads into a second question, which will be our last question of the night. What do you think in 50 years people will look back at this period of time on nostalgically? Something that perhaps will not be there anymore. What?
Nostalgia is my favorite. One of my absolute all-time favorite emotions of all time. Nostalgia is the best.
So what do you think people will be nostalgic about this period of time?
Oh, gosh. I mean, it's hard. Because when I think of nostalgia, I immediately think of the stuff I'm nostalgic about now. So,
let me help you out. What's here now that might not be here in 50 years that people will miss?
The nostalgia that I think I have about now. I think I'm the most nostalgic of the moments when there is simplicity. There's a break.
So you think that won't be there 50 years from now?
I think that it will be there, but in different ways. In much different ways. Mm-hmm. I think that now, like you think about the breaks that we have, we go into nature and we do things, right? I think that 50 years from now, we might have nostalgic memories of a time when, I don't know, deleted all your social media and you just spent the whole like couple weeks just hanging out with friends and doing stuff. But 50 years from now, you might need all your social media just to hold a job, period, let alone know what's happening next door or what your friend's doing down the street. You know what I mean? Like we might become so reliant on it that we don't have that simplicity anymore. We kind of lose like the enjoyment of human nature at its finest.
Yeah.
Just being with another person. You know what I mean?
So my answer is already a little bit outdated. Right? I think people are nostalgic for this already, but it's going to be a lot worse in 50 years.
Okay.
I think that people are going to be nostalgic about privacy.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
That's a good one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, okay, because now what we have now is like this struggle in fear surrounding privacy. But you think that it's going to be so obsolete in the future that we're just going to remember a time when we had privacy.
I think there will be a point in time when the concept of privacy isn't congruent with people's understanding of the world. Mm. God forbid that happen here. I, as an American, I would like to believe that it would happen last here. As I like to believe that we're still one of the freest societies in the world.
You think so?
We're not the freest, but we're still one of the freest.
Think so? Okay.
But like in China, a system's already in place where everybody is monitored almost all the time in big cities, and they have I hope I'm not butchering this. Gosh, I hope I'm not butchering this, but it's a system where it monitors you wherever you go, and the system, maybe it's people behind the system, can assign or take away from you basically karma points. So if you're recorded doing something bad, you have like, and dang it, I hope I'm not butchering this. Anyway, they're a very surveilled society, and
wow.
so England,
well,
which is funny,
wouldn't Korea be one of the top ones as well?
They don't have the technology to survey everybody.
Well, I mean, in terms of like, I mean, because there's been people like editors and journalists who have gone there and said that it's a ghost town. Yeah,
what I'm talking about is you cannot privacy in the sense that you can't escape from a camera lens. You know,
we could.
So
be, I mean,
we already feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like,
it might be possible that my TV is recording our audio, and Vizio is selling the audio of our conversation to advertisers, and they can pick through for keywords, and then that will send ads through the internet.
What's that thing that you told me recently where you were just
by the way, guys, I don't think it's actually happening with my Vizio TV. I'm saying it's possible.
It's possible.
I don't think that.
No, I just spoke with a buddy of mine actually.
You said I told you something recently?
No. This was my buddy Dan. He's a really cool guy, and he's really into technology and staying up on things. So he was talking to me about surveillance, and he's very like forward about it. He's very like, he stays up on it and tries to like know when things are happening and why they're happening, right? So he told me that he went and hung out with someone that he had, I guess, just met, right? And was next to them, and then the next day on his Facebook, he had like a possible friend that you might know, and it was this person. So when he was next to them, his phone read their phone, matched Facebook's, and said, "Oh, well, you were within 2 feet of each other recently. You might know this person."
Did they have mutual connections?
No, he said no mutual connections. This was literally like, he said that the only way this could happen was if they were tracking his phone, their phone, and they matched them because they were close together, like a GPS.
Well, the good thing about that, if there's any silver lining to that story, is that you don't have to allow location services on Facebook. You can turn it off. But when you have it on, yeah, it can do creepy stuff like that.
That's why I feel like I highly doubt that he would have it on, just based on the conversation that we had and his view on it.
No, if that happened, he had location services on for sure.
Okay.
If you don't, it kind of screws up a lot of the usability of the app, because you can't check in places because there's no idea where you are.
Well, what if it's just like a front or a forward, like to make somebody feel safe? you know, in the moment, and like be like, well, if you switch this on and off, like you have control, but really you don't.
I will tell you, Apple is pretty secure. Apple cares a lot about security and privacy. They fought the federal government to not let them crack somebody's phone that was basically a criminal. You know, they really do fight for privacy. And it's not something that you put it in Facebook. It's something you control in the settings of your iPhone.
And they don't consider that obstruction of justice?
No.
Or hiding in aiding and abetting? Or
Nope.
Huh.
It was,
it's a contract between that person and the company, and the government cannot put their hand in, like an income tax?
I'm not sure how to classify it, but, you know, I'm sure somewhere in the iTunes user agreement, when you accept it, when you get a new phone or whatever, one of the clauses has to be, we're not responsible for anything that you do on this phone. So that being said, they have no liability for anything, you know. So when the government comes to them and says, hey, we need your encryption code to break into this phone, they just like, no, screw off. We're not, you know, because that, I mean, we're sounding real conspiratorial here, and I'll just put this caveat out there. Me and Evan do love conspiracy theories.
All day.
We don't believe them all.
No.
But we love them.
Well, like, I should say I enjoy the entertainment of conspiracy theories, but I do not believe all the conspiracy theories. I believe conspiracy fact.
Okay.
There's a difference.
All right.
We're talking...
Here we go.
Late in the game changer.
As I was saying, once you give the government that privilege, then how is it going to be used in the future? That's what I'm saying. I think Apple made a good call there by not letting them in.
Right.
But yeah, I really do think that we will be nostalgic about privacy one day. That's sad. But I have another one that's a little less sad. I think that we will be nostalgic about tobacco.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You think so? No, really?
Yeah, because if we were to get rid of one thing to cut the death rate in more than half in America right now, it would be tobacco. I mean, people die of tobacco. I think it's the #1 killer in America.
Tobacco?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, let me...
Let this guy do his thing.
#1 killer in America. It's probably going to give me a...
100 miles an hour.
So it's cancer has passed heart disease. But see, tobacco use is tied to both cancer and heart disease.
But yeah, because I was going to say tobacco, the nicotine releases adrenaline, which speeds up your heart rate.
Well, it's not the nicotine. The nicotine is a perfectly fine chemical as far as I know, and I think it's a factual statement. But
you mean in healthy doses, right? Like
sure.
Because it just got on some kid's skin.
If you drink a gallon, no, that didn't happen.
Well,
it's got on my skin. It didn't happen. Nearly 75% of all deaths in the U.S. are attributed to just 10 causes. Wow. #1, heart disease. #2, cancer. #3, chronic lower respiratory disease.
What's the source?
The website I'm on?
Yeah.
ScientologyToday.com.
Oh, here we...
I'm just kidding. It's medicalnewstoday.com.
Medical news
/articles /282929.php if you want to know.
Follow us at...
But anyway, yeah. I think that tobacco products will be outright illegal in many parts of the world, and it already is.
Okay, that could be a nostalgic thing, but I highly doubt you wouldn't be able to get it, though.
Yeah, you're right. You know what's been successful in Portugal? I think it was. Man, we talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast that we haven't done any research about, but I'm just going to say Portugal because I think it's right.
Okay.
They, like San Francisco and New York City, sell cigarettes for an absorbent, just a crazy high price. And that has driven rates of smoking way down. Way down.
Say that one more time. What they're selling it as?
They charge so much for cigarettes that nobody buys them.
Oh, okay.
Right? Which will then create a black market, like there is in New York City. There are people on the side of the street selling cigarettes.
What's a pack in New York City?
About $17.
You're kidding me.
Same in San Francisco.
So here we have like an American Spirit that'll travel up to $11.55.
Where?
$12.
Washington?
Yeah.
In
No.
Portland, they're like $6.50.
Light blue.
I don't know.
Back in the day when I used to buy a pack of light blue American Spirits, it was always like, I guess it would be in Washington. That's where I bought them usually. It was like $10 to $11.
Yeah.
I mean, but I can't imagine. I mean, 17. You're talking 17 for like what, a pack of like Marbs or
anything. That's where they start.
That's where they start. Wow.
That's where they start.
Yeah. And so you're saying that
it's a bit rough. It's a bit rough.
Cancer's having a hard time out there.
Real hard time.
So you're saying that people buy them less in New York than they do here?
I'm not sure about the U.S. numbers actually, because I think the cities that charge like a crazy amount for their cigarettes, they've only been doing it for a brief time. Mm-hmm. Not sure on that, but in Portugal they've had good results.
Okay.
But we've reached the end of our hour, Evan.
Yes, we have.
And it's been fun. We sure did miss those other boys.
Yeah, we did.
But they'll be back next week, hopefully.
That's right.
Unless Eddie has another gosh darn concert to go to.
He had better not.
Eduardo.
He had better.
And Ronnie will be back from New York City. We're going to hear all about Ronnie's vacation next week.
Oh, yeah. Was it a wedding this time?
It wasn't a wedding.
Okay, I was going to say.
No, he's not crashing another wedding.
No.
Yeah. So tune in next week, same time, same place, guys, on YouTube.
Always.
And thanks so much for hanging out with us again.
Oh, yeah.
We stream live every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. PST. That's Pacific Standard Time. And that's 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At the Infinite Variety Show YouTube channel.
It's an infinite variety of shows.
Shows and topics. We release the audio and the audio. We release the audio version in a podcast under the same name the following Monday morning on most platforms.
Nailed it.
A bit about the podcast. We're actually waiting a while to release the podcast, but it's coming soon. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at the Infinite Variety Show.
Infinite Variety Show.
If you want to follow us individually on the socials, that information is in the description down below.
I'm a mystery. I'm not on social media.
Evan's not, so I'm just gonna type the word Evan. I'll make you another profile. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do that.
That went over well.
Yeah,
All right, guys.